I bet you think the tip of this pin is pretty small, right? It's crazy that we can make things this small. But what if I told you that we can make things even smaller? These teeny tiny objects are all part of the field of nanotechnology. Nanotechnology allows us to make things in the nanoscale. How small is the nanoscale? Try this. Take one strand of your hair and look at how thick it is. Now imagine splitting that thickness into 100 pieces. That is 1 nanometer, and one really bad split end. So picture this. Nanotechnology allows engineers to modify objects that are this itty-bitty. Essentially, we're working with atoms and molecules, some of the smallest building blocks of matter. One nanoscale formation is the micelle. Micelles are spherical structures composed of molecules with heads and tails, kind of like our pin here. The heads of these molecules are attracted to water, whereas the tails do not like water. Molecules with this dual nature towards water are called amphipathic. Amphipathic molecules form into micelles when put into a liquid. Scientists are making their own micelles for research. There are many ways that this can be done, but the most common way is through self-assembly. Because the amphipathic molecules want to be happy, when they're put into a liquid and stirred up, the molecules find other amphipathic molecules to join up with. If the liquid is water, the molecules form a sphere that looks a little bit like this. The heads are all on the outside in contact with the water, whereas the tails are protected within. If the liquid is something like an oil, we get a reverse micelle in which the tails are on the outside and the heads are protected within. Either way, the heads and the tails are happy, and so are the scientists. Sometimes, amphipathic molecules find a particle to form around and can create a capsule with something within. This information is being used to create micelles that can fight cancer. Chemotherapy is a kind of drug used to treat cancer. The problem is that chemotherapy doesn't just attack the cancer cells, it attacks the healthy cells too. Scientists and engineers are trying to use micelles to send the chemotherapy drugs straight to the cancer cells without harming the healthy ones. How do they do it? It's simpler than what you might think. Scientists place the chemotherapy drugs in some water with the amphipathic molecules. The tails don't like the water, but they do like the drugs, so the amphipathic molecules begin to form a capsule around the drug. After the micelles form, scientists add another molecule to the outside of the micelle called a receptor. Those receptors go and find the cancer cells, keeping the chemomedicine safely inside the micelle. Once the receptors find a cancer cell, they attach to it and allow the micelle to open up and release the chemotherapy medicine right into the cancer cell. Pretty cool, right? Nanotechnology is a whole field of science and engineering that just keeps growing. The possibilities are huge, even if the technology is really small.